This episode of Another Happy Pod is going to contain spoilers. If you've not experienced the content yourself, please go ahead and do so before coming back and listening to the boys ramble on about it. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to... Fuck, I was going to say Your Opinions.
For those who don't know, Nathan just attempted to intro our old podcast that we haven't recorded for 2 years.
That is thoroughly dead. It was a fun podcast, but this is not that podcast. This is a new podcast. Another Happy Pod, brought to you by Lawrence Thomas Heisey and Nathan James Bauer. That's not
Is your middle name James?
No, I don't even have a middle name. So
I didn't know.
No, my family were too poor to afford a middle name, so I just got the two. Although every other sibling I have has a middle name, but it's literally just me with.
Maybe you were the one that they didn't want, so
they hated
just
me.
Didn't give you one. Yeah.
Exactly.
The less information about this man, the better.
Anyway, do you want to give a quick rundown of what the fuck this is, Lawrence?
Okay, so Nathan and I have recorded many podcasts in the past.
Most of which have never seen the light of day.
Yeah, I think one of them has, despite my attempts at trying to bury it, and it's still on YouTube. But yeah, most of them have failed, so this is why we're kind of trying to take this one a little bit more seriously. The premise is Another Happy Pod, where we talk about movies,
well, that's the
films...
name, not the premise.
Right, but I'm getting there.
All right.
Jesus. Now you've got me blaspheming on the pod as well. So the premise of the pod is the title, which is Another Happy Pod. Hopefully we will be bringing some positivity to movies, games, TV, any kind of media-related outlets that we enjoy. There's a lot of people on podcast platforms just kind of shitting on things, so we try to keep it a little bit more positive.
And it can be fun to shit on things and poke fun at that sort of stuff, and we probably will do that as well, a little bit here and there. But like the overall focus of this is just to focus on like why we like stuff and why we enjoyed watching and playing and doing whatever to this stuff. That sounds a bit weird.
You pitched it to me, didn't you? Where you said it's there's so many movie lovers podcasts out there that just literally exclusively talk about hating movies.
Yeah, because I find it weird when people say they love cinema, they love movies, but literally all they do is talk shit on everything and just say, I fucking hate that, I fucking hate blah, blah, blah. And it just seems,
it's true.
Are you sure you love movies or do you just like complaining? Because
and some movies warrant it, but then there's other ones that are so bad that they're good and etc. Like it puts them in a kind of box, and there's many genres that can be many different things. You can think the worst horror movie in the world is brilliant, not because it scares you, but because it's basically more of a comedy. So there's avenues that you can enjoy these things in.
Exactly. Even in the worst movie, there's always stuff you can find to enjoy. A perfect example of that is fucking The Room, one of the worst movies ever made, but people fucking love that. It's great.
There's screenings of that go on like every month of every year. Essentially, they're just endless.
Probably not so much of this year, but most years. Yeah.
No, perhaps not. Yeah. But yeah, we're recording this remotely. We're being safe and secure. Even if we weren't in a pandemic, we'd be recording remotely because Nathan lives in the desolate wasteland of Hull, and I live in the vibrant, booming city of central London.
You fuck live in central London.
Okay, fine. Do you want to tell people what we're doing today?
Yeah, so today we are going to be talking about the movie Solo, a Star Wars story. I feel like a lot of people... just kind of like, yeah, it's all right, or just kind of missed this one. I really like Solo. I think it's a really good movie, so yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
I like Solo too. I think when it came out, there was so many rumors about the main actor's acting ability. There was the director switch over. It was going to be directed by Lord and Miller, then changed to Ron Howard. So there was a lot of hearsay about the quality of it and if Disney were poking their noses in too much and blah blah blah. So a lot of people already were kind of on board to not like it before it had even come out.
Yeah, I think that is one of the problems of this movie. Just all the drama and controversy surrounding the making of it, which, depending on the circumstance, shouldn't really have much to do with the overall final product. But again, it's a case-by-case situation. The thing is, though, I guess Lord and Miller already had like a good reputation because they'd done comedies and stuff. They did Lego Movie just before this. And people were excited.
Was that just before this?
Well,
movie?
I say just before it, but it was a couple of years, and then it was announced.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Lego Movie came out in 2014, and this came out in 2018, I think. So
I think it was 2018. Yeah, about that.
Yeah,
We've clearly done our research.
Clearly, yeah.
I like Solo. I think it's interesting. The main thing for me, because it was very much so one of those movies when it was announced, I kind of was sat there and going, okay, I'll accept it, but it's not the Solo kind of outing that I wanted from Disney in terms of Star Wars. There's a lot of characters that I think could be more deserving of their own Solo movie.
That's another thing as well. Yeah, there's of the stories that should have been told, I'm not necessarily certain that Solo, a young Han Solo movie, should have been one of them. And I think that a lot of people were also thinking that. So right from the get-go, this movie had a lot going against it, really.
And Harrison Ford's kind of iconic portrayal of Han Solo is it's very hard to match up with.
Recasting Harrison Ford is an impossible task, even if he's like 40. I don't know how old Harrison Ford is at the moment, but 40 or so years younger. It's still an impossible task to do. So no matter who you chose, it was going to be the wrong person in someone's eyes.
Well, there's on YouTube, if you look it up, there's still videos of people that are saying like titles like fixing Han Solo, and they just basically deep fake Harrison Ford's face into it's Alden, I don't know how to pronounce his surname.
Alden Ehrenreich, I think.
It's not what I didn't want that.
Yeah, why would you want that? I mean, Ewan McGregor looks nothing like Alec McGuinness. But I don't think that matters, because like it still works for me. I still buy it. I still think it's the same person. Yeah, okay, sure. There's a little bit of time hand-waving sort of thing in the fact that he aged like 60 years and 20 years. But sure, that's just a product of making movies and casting different people in general.
And that's the big thing with Solo as well. Once you get past like the little things, like you're saying, the stuff that shouldn't really factor into the movie, and you just enjoy it as a product of what it is, then you're gonna have a much better time with Solo. I think.
But saying that as well, even with everything going against Alden Ehrenreich, even with Han Solo being such a beloved character and everyone loving Harrison Ford and the way he played him, I still think Alden did his research and he did a great job of playing Han Solo, because there's like certain little mannerisms and like movements, like the flick of his hand and everything like that, which he just absolutely nails, that Harrison Ford does as well.
The first line you hear him speak in the movie is, "This is nothing." Like he's just escaped a bit of a fight and he's got a bruise on him, and he says, "Oh, this is nothing. You should see the other guys." And it's perfect. Like it fits so well with the character.
I don't know if you know who Jamie Costa is, but he's just like someone who basically does voice impersonations and really good ones. Don't want to discredit him at all. He does really good ones. And there was a lot of talk of like Disney should hire someone like him who can just really nail the impersonation of Harrison Ford. But do you really just want someone doing an impression for 2 hours?
But that's not the point. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want that because of the main reason. If you're seeing a Han Solo movie set, how many years before A New Hope is this supposed to be set?
I think initially, like in the scenes at the beginning of the movie, I think initially it's 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got another, 15 or so years there?
Well, yeah, but then the bulk of the movie is set another 3 years after that, I think. I think the main bulk of the movie is around 10 years before A New Hope. I might be wrong there, but I think, yeah.
Also, a lot of changing and growing happens in 10 years. And if you're going to get a new story with Han Solo at a younger age, you want to see him not being the same person. You want to see how he becomes the person that you know so well in the original trilogy.
Exactly. You got the sense that he wasn't the Han we know in A New Hope, because he's not that person yet. He's still got to grow into that. But in the beginning of this movie, he's incredibly naive and foolish. He still thinks he's in love with this girl. He thinks he's gonna like escape from this planet, go on, rule the world, live a happy life together. He's so fucking naive, and obviously we know that's not what happens at all. His real life is much more tragic, and in some cases happier than that. But that's part of, like, you believed Alden genuinely thought that's what he was going to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you could see he still had that kind of hopeful spirit, and then at the end of the movie, when things don't particularly go his way, I mean, he still comes out somewhat on top, but he learns a lot of lessons, and you can tell that he's a lot closer to the A New Hope Harrison Ford, or to Han Solo, sorry, than he is at the beginning.
So, what else in Solo stood out to you? What did you enjoy? Because you just recently watched it, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So one of the main things I actually really liked, and I liked it a lot more in the second time round, was Paul Bettany in this movie.
Okay.
I really like him. I think it's refreshing. I know, obviously, a lot of the time Star Wars like to have these big villains, the all-powerful Sith. Like they like to have them the most powerful thing in existence at that time.
Yeah.
In this movie, Paul Bettany's just a bit of a deranged bloke, and I really, really like that. I thought it was quite refreshing.
Yeah, that's true. It is. I get what you're saying. It is nice to have a bit of a change from, Darth Vader and Darth Maul and Ben Solo and everything like that, who are like these maniac lightsaber wielding villains. Who it's nice to have just a guy who eats caviar and threatens your life, essentially.
I think the introduction to him is. I've got it down somewhere, but one of his people, one of his kind of people working for him says, he's just finishing up a diplomatic meeting with the governor, and it just hard cuts into him stabbing the shit out of him. It's brilliant. I really enjoyed it.
I think one of the things as well, everything with him, with Paul Bettany, is entirely reshot, because originally his character was in the movie, but it was slightly different. It was played by Michael Vick Williams, I think.
Really? I didn't know this.
Yeah. But when they came back for the reshoots with Ron Howard instead of Lord and Miller, he was committed to another role, so he couldn't return. So they just not essentially recast, but rewrote the role. I think Michael Vick Williams, if that is who I'm thinking of, was originally supposed to be more alien-like, from what I understand. And Paul Bettany is still kind of alien-like, but much more human-looking, though.
Well, he's essentially what he is a human with face tattoos, really.
But they glow as well, though.
Well, they glow, but he's not like in heavy prosthetics. It's not like Simon Pegg in A New Hope, who's unrecognizable. New Hope, sorry, Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's true. I think I've got it here, actually. Where is this? Dryden Voss' original concept art portrayed him as a dinosaur bird-like figure, with the development of a love triangle between him, Han, and Kira. His design became more humanoid, majestic, and handsome in order to evoke more jealousy from Han. So, yeah, I don't know what that would have looked like.
Fuck me.
Just some big fucking bird thing walking around.
Just a dinosaur, a T-Rex, and Han Solo's getting jealous over. No, I think changing that, they've really done the movie a favor there, because like I said, I think he's probably, like, obviously aside from Han Solo, he's probably my favorite part of the movie. All of his scenes I really enjoyed, and he had the kind of character where you start a scene with him, and by the end of it, he could have murdered you and everyone around you, or he could have poured you a drink and told you a story. Like, it could have gone in any kind of way, which I really, really enjoyed. Whereas a lot of Star Wars villains have like I said, you go there, there's going to be a lightsaber fight, and one of them's either going to die or they're both going to have an inconvenience that means they have to escape. And I think he kind of embodied a lot of the stuff that they were naive to. Like, Kira's relationship in this film, or kind of progression in this film, she says, Han says, "How did you escape?" And she says, "I didn't." And then you realise she's just traded in kind of one prick in Lady Proxima? I think
Lady Proxima, yeah.
Yeah, she's just traded in one prick for another one. But the difference is this one drinks cocktails and wears suits, and that's it.
You're absolutely right. She says it perfectly. She hasn't escaped. She's still in the life. She's still working that life, essentially. You haven't watched Clone Wars or anything, have you? So you don't know much of the backstory behind, like, Black Sun and Crimson Dawn and everything like that, do you?
No, I know a little bit more about Crimson Dawn, that it's like a kind of crime syndicate operation. I think Darth Maul heads it, right? Is that right? Yeah, Darth Maul. That's basically it. I don't know anything about the other one.
Right, okay, yeah, because it's not explored hugely in Clone Wars, just a little bit. And in the last season of Clone Wars as well, Dryden Voss, Paul Bettany, actually gets a little cameo, in appearance only. Like, Paul Bettany doesn't voice anything, but just the actual like character of him does make a brief appearance, which was pretty cool. It's nice to see that like this story is getting a bit of a legacy and it's showing up in other places of Star Wars as well. I kind of quite like that.
Yeah, I like that. Disney were very, very quick to attempt to brush it under the rug as if it never happened. I think because this failed, this lost them quite a bit of money, didn't it? I don't think it broke even.
I don't think it was a huge flop. It definitely didn't make as much money as it should have done, as a Star Wars movie should have done. I think a lot of the reason for that, though, was like the release of it, like coming out in May, as opposed to...
Oh, it was the first one that didn't get a December, wasn't it?
Well, since the Disney acquisition, yeah. But yeah, it should have been... It was originally supposed to be a December movie, but then they changed it to May. I'm not sure why. I think it was actually because it was the 40th anniversary of something. No, because 77 was Star Wars, so it wouldn't have been the 40th anniversary. I'm not sure. But yeah, they changed it to May, and Bob Iger, who was the CEO of Disney, said that was his decision, and he messed up there, so he's fully admitted to that. It definitely should have been a December release.
Yeah, that's kind of... I don't know if they did it on purpose, but in Force Awakens, like the kind of climactic battle is set in the snow with blue and red having massive colours. I don't know why, but since I saw The Force Awakens, I just associate Star Wars with Christmas. I don't know if that was a conscious choice.
I don't think it was necessarily. That's literally the first time I've ever heard that, but I quite like it.
Really, I like viewing it in that way with the blue and the red in glowing snow. I like it. What did you think of everyone else in this movie? Because there's quite a big
Donald Glover is right. So we've got Emilia Clarke as Kira. We've got Donald Glover as Lando. We've got Woody Harrelson as Tobias Beckett. We've got Jon Favreau as I can't remember his fucking name now. The little lizard monkey guy. And then we got Tandy Newton as
Rio.
Well. Rio, that's it. Yeah, Rio. And then we got Tandy Newton as Val. Chewie, Juntas.
Which one? Say again?
Chewbacca.
Oh, of course, yeah, because they obviously not out of choice, but they recasted him for this role, didn't they?
Well, it wasn't necessarily for this role. It was like for The Force Awakens they did it. It was in The Force Awakens, Chewie was played by Peter Mayhew for any scene where Chewbacca was sitting down, and then the more action heavy stuff was I can't say his name. It's like Swedish or something. Juntas something.
Is it Juntas? I thought it was Jason.
No, it's definitely not Jason. Let me just put it up.
Where am I getting Jason from?
Where are you getting Jason from? Let me just pull this up now. Jonas Suitamo.
Okay.
Jonas Sumato. Yeah,
he does a good job. I mean, obviously, I know you can't tell who's playing Chewbacca normally, but considering there was a transition period, I didn't really feel like there was one. It's the mannerisms were down. I think Chewbacca was actually one of the highlights of this movie as well, or the friendship between Han Solo and Chewbacca.
And I think that's what you want. I think the goal of that is to make sure the audience can't tell a difference, essentially. You want to make sure that that Chewbacca is still the same person. It doesn't come across like he's been recast. Because, I mean, it'd be difficult to get that to come across. But, yeah, the Juntas did do a good job. He worked really closely with Peter Mayhew on the set. Obviously now, for sad reasons, the role is just his entirely. But yeah, he's a good choice. He's a really good choice, and he's fucking tall as well. So then,
I think that's why he's the best choice. I think he's he's one of the most ridiculously tall actors working.
He wasn't even an actor. I think he was a basketball player.
Oh really?
Yeah, he was a basketball player, and then someone from Disney or Lucasfilm or whatever were just scouting people who could potentially take on the more action-heavy elements of this role. And I think Star Wars was the first actor he did. I think
he loves to be there as well. He's so active on Twitter and stuff. Anytime John Boyega posts anything, he's like, "Yeah, man, this was fun."
You see as well, like anytime Star Wars or like Lucasfilm will post anything on Instagram or Disney, you just see him in the comments just talking about how much he loves it. It's just so cute and exciting. Bless him. What a
I mean,
hero.
think about it. Like, we don't know. He was probably a Star Wars fan, and if you grow up, you play professional basketball or something, and then all of a sudden you're playing Chewbacca. It's a bit of a career U-turn. So he's probably having a great time.
Oh, and he's fucking raking it in as well. So there we go.
Yeah. Oh, that's I didn't even think about that. Actually, yeah, he's probably making ridiculous amounts of money at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why he's doing it. He's just keeping Disney sweet. Everything they post, he's like, yeah, man, completely agree. Love this company.
Pay me. Yeah, okay. But what you said though about the relationship between Han and Chewie, that kind of like almost like bickering like a married couple. It's something they nailed, because there's the moment. What am I thinking of? There's the moment where they just have the kind of the back and forth, and they're just the fight essentially at the beginning, where they're coming together as strangers. And obviously Chewie's trying to kill Han, or not, eat him, essentially. But then they have that moment of just working together where it still doesn't go quite right. It's still them having a little bit of back and forth and a little bit of bickering. And they just sort of like nail that relationship.
I really like it. I think one of the things that I became, obviously I've known it the whole time since I saw Star Wars when I was young, but I kind of consciously, for the first time, acknowledged it when I rewatched this movie. The choice that they've never, ever, ever subtitled Chewbacca, despite the fact they'll subtitle other alien languages.
Yeah.
They've never subtitled Chewbacca. So it's actually, when you think about it, it's quite a difficult relationship to establish well for the first time, considering you only ever hear what Han says. And for all you know, Han could be lying. Like, we have to take his word for what Chewbacca's saying.
That's true. And there is... And it's not like the words aren't there. Like, someone knows what he's saying. The script is written down with what Chewbacca's actually saying, because there's like footage of the original trilogy, like behind the scenes footage. And Peter Mayhew, he's actually saying the lines. Like, he's saying them in English. And then,
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you see Chewbacca, and then you just see this Cockney accent. Well, you just hear this Cockney accent be like, "The Falcon's down, mate. We don't know what we're doing."
Oh my god, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's strange, but it works. So in terms of casting this movie, who else did you like?
What I really liked, and it's the only point of contention for me in this movie, but I like the overall relationship, is Han and L3, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh yeah, Han and L3.
Not Han and L3, sorry, Lando and L3.
Yeah, I thought that would be weird.
Yeah, no, that definitely would have been weird. It would have raised some canon questions. No, I really liked it. I thought sometimes the character of L3 became a little bit of, like, I like what the message they were trying to do. Yeah. But I think a lot of it came across as the studio going, put this in, this will get good laughs or good. That for me, that was the only time I kind of saw Disney's over involvement. But at the same time, Phoebe Waller-Bridge can pretty much pull anything off. So it worked, but I think it could have been dialed down a little bit.
It definitely was a bit very heavy-handed, with just what she did in the movie, just the overall droid rights thing and everything like that. And but that being said, the moment on Kessel, where she just kickstarts that droid revolution, and then you just have a gonk droid just jumping up and down on the fucking control panel, mate, that was hilarious. Oh, yeah. I loved that moment, man. As heavy-handed and as silly as it was still just pretty fun to see a bunch of droids just wrecking shit, really.
Yeah, I liked it as well because of the whole warning that Woody Harrelson gave to everyone, don't improvise, stick to the plan, and then it just goes completely fucking crazy.
Completely crazy.
Also, kind of new to Star Wars, and I'm amazed that Disney were on board with it. The very obvious hinting that Lando has fucked the droid. It's something I'm absolutely dumbfounded that Disney agreed to. But it's there now, and it's undeniable.
Yeah, Lando definitely fucked L3, and I mean, I don't know if it makes sense. Does it make sense? Because Lando, he is this just kind of smooth talking weird pirate who'll do what he needs to do, and he obviously likes to have fun across the galaxy as well.
And they upped that for this movie as well.
Oh, they really did, yeah.
They like obviously Lando in Empire and Return of the Jedi is a smooth guy. Billy D. Williams kind of plays him quite cool.
But I think that's just because Billy D. himself is naturally smooth.
Yeah. But then Disney obviously then realized how people took Lando. Yeah. And then went, Donald Glover, make him the smoothest man on the planet. Like, and they really go for it. And I liked it because obviously it's the same thing where you don't want an impression of Billy D. Williams. You want the essence of Lando.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Donald Glover did that very, very well, in my opinion.
Donald Glover was really good in this. The moment where everyone is in the mines of Kessel and they're doing the job, they're freeing the Wookiees, they're getting the coaxium, doing what they need to do, and everything's just going to shit. And it just cuts back to him, essentially just vlogging in the Falcon, reading off the Calrissian Chronicles. Yeah.
That was perfect. Good. And I like how annoyed he looks when he's interrupted as well. Like there's an explosion that goes off and he's like, what? I'm trying to fucking record the Calrissian Chronicles over here. Like he looks annoyed.
One thing I loved as well is the not quite at the end, but more towards the end, once because the Falcon, when we see the Falcon, it's obviously it's at this point it's Lando's ship. And it's pristine, it's nice, it's got like some sort of body kit on it, which makes it look a little bit different and all nice and smooth, and it's got a fresh paint job and everything. Obviously, the moment Han gets his hands on it, it's fucking wrecked, it's destroyed. It looks like a pile of shit. And then there's just that moment where both of them are walking away after they've done the Kessel Run. They're just walking away through the sand. They just both look at the wreckage of the Falcon. And just that moment between them, that I hate you, that moment they have there is just
really it's perfect. Good.
Yeah.
Which actually brings me to the wrap up points. I was going to say, do you have any like personal highlights of this movie? Of the bits that you love the most?
Yeah, personal highlights. It's definitely the Kessel Run. I love them. I love the moment where Han just finally gets his hands on the Falcon for the first time, and you can see that he's not bullshitting. He is a good pilot. He knows exactly what he's doing there, but also that he couldn't have done it without Chewie as well. Chewie got them through that. They're a team, essentially. You need them to work together there.
It's the moment where is it when Kira's sat in the kind of the front seat and Han's barking orders, and she's like, I clearly don't know what to do, and Chewie just jumps in.
Yeah.
Like straight away, yeah.
And then you find out he's like 190 years old, I think.
I think it's 109. I could be wrong.
No, I think it's 190.
Really?
Yeah, I think you are wrong. Yeah, I think Wookiees have a lifespan of 500 years.
Fuck me.
Yeah, old boys indeed. And then as well, I like the implication as well that he's just completely fucking bullshitting about the Kessel Run. Because he always, like in the New Hope, he says the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 14 parsecs. Less than 12 parsecs.
When people think it's the kind of the myth is that it was 14, and he always ends up correcting people saying 12, and then in this movie he says it's a round up, doesn't he? Basically, or a round down.
Yeah, he says it's a round down. Yeah. So clearly he's just lying about that as well. Which
is great. I like that.
I enjoy that as well. Woody Harrelson. I'm not a huge fan of Woody Harrelson in this movie.
I think he phones it in a little bit.
He does. I think it was pretty obvious the way his character was going as well. I knew at some point Han was going to be betrayed. I kind of thought it was going to be by Kira for the majority of it, but it made sense.
Well, it kind of was a little bit.
Not.
Don't get me wrong. She doesn't double cross him or anything.
Yeah.
But I'd say she definitely lets him down. They made that plan at the end. This is what we're going to do. And then as soon as he's out the ship, she's like, I'm off.
I think she kind of did that for him though, because she didn't want and couldn't let him get involved in that life essentially, because it would have, Darth Maul could have fucked him up. So who knows?
True. And I suppose she's known by Darth Maul on a first name basis. She's kind of already sold for life now.
Yeah.
I suppose that makes sense. And she doesn't ever mention him as well, so that makes a lot of sense. One of my favorite moments in this, I still think, despite the fact the back is a lot more action heavy, My favorite part of this movie is kind of the first chapter, the kind of before the 3-year jump.
Yeah.
And the main reason for it being is I don't think there's ever been a more on the nose stupid Han Solo scene than the thermal detonator rock scene, which I really like.
Yeah, that is very much classic Han Solo, just bullshitting his way out of a situation.
Yeah, and it works. And I like that he's, despite the fact that he is, I know he's a talented pilot, but at the start of it, it's implied and shown that he is a lot shitter than he makes out he is. Like, he's way cockier for someone that has less talent than he does when he's older.
Oh, 100%.
Like the moment where Kira says, you know, it's too tight, you'll never make that maneuver or whatever. And then he makes it, and the movie's, you know, the score is going on, and there's a lot of quick cuts. It makes you believe that Han Solo's pulled this epic maneuver off, and then it just hard cuts to his speeder just grinding to a halt, stuck in like a really tight alleyway. And Kira just gives him this look like, you fucking idiot. What did you think of the Imperial March theme playing for the Join the Empire?
So I know we said that this was going to be focusing on the positive stuff and stuff we like, okay, but just that whole scene, that's the worst part of the movie for me. I do not like that. And you know me. You know I find it very hard to criticize Star Wars because I am the most biased person ever. I've got a fucking Star Wars tattoo. Okay, I find it hard to criticize Star Wars, but just that entire scene. It's not so much the Imperial March because that's already been done. In Star Wars Rebels, there's a parade for Empire Day, the day that the Empire took power, and they have a parade on the planet of Lothal. And the music for that is like a major key version of the Imperial March. So that's not so much what bothers me. It's the name part. The name, I really don't like the name.
Who are your people? I have no people.
Han Solo. It's just, I hate that so much. Like, why couldn't it just be his name? Why?
I get that. I feel like, like you say, if I had to have kind of a main overarching issue with this movie, it would be that every single thing that you've got to know about Han Solo had to be explained. And some of it just didn't.
Yeah.
The one thing that didn't get explained, which I was quite grateful for, to be fair, which I think would have been the easiest thing to explain, was the chin scar. I was quite surprised they didn't go for that if they went for everything else.
I remember a lot of people talking about that in the lead up to it. Like, are we going to see how he gets the chin scar? And like, why? He's just got it. It
doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it's just a scar.
It's just a regular scar on a normal guy's chin.
Literally just because Harrison Ford had a scar on his chin. That's why.
Obviously, we're going to wrap up pretty soon. The one thing I did want to mention was that I absolutely love Jon Favreau in this movie. I don't know if you had any quick thoughts on... What did we say his name was again? I can't remember.
Rio.
Rio, yeah. I think he's good. And the moment where he gets shot and he dies, and he has that kind of moment to Han where he turns around and he says, don't die alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, in the movie, kind of... it's when they're kind of sat around a campfire, and there's the really lovely moment that I really enjoyed, was the Han doesn't know if Chewie's saying tribe or family, and I think it's Woody Harrelson or Rio, I can't remember exactly who delivers the line, where they say, what's the difference? I thought that was really, really cool.
That is a really cute line. I do like that. Again, I'm not sure which one it is either, but I think it's Rio. But I love the way he says Wookiee. Like, whoa, is that a Wookiee?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he doesn't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. You will never have a more comfortable sleep than in the lap of a Wookiee.
It's true. And also, I noticed that after that line, that's the exact moment that Woody Harrelson's character pulls the ship down to go and get them. So watching it, obviously I know he's got other intentions, but watching it makes it really look like... Woody Harrelson's really interested in having a nap in Chewbacca's lap, which I really enjoy. yeah, it's going to be cozy. I think I've said all I kind of wanted to say about it.
One last thing I do want to bring up, just quick thoughts on Darth Maul.
I'm not the best person to comment on it because I don't know about too much into the Crimson Dawn subplot. I don't know how much he needed to be there. I don't mind it, and I think it's a cool inclusion.
Yeah.
But the main issue I had with it was the igniting of the lightsaber, just to say, look, it served two purposes. It was for the people that knew who Darth Maul was, it was, look how threatening I am. And for the people that didn't, because he hasn't been seen in a movie, I know he's in the Clone Wars and everything, but he hasn't been seen in a mainstream movie since when did Phantom Menace come out?
99, Phantom Menace, yeah.
So it was probably to refresh people's minds and go, he was the cool guy that with the double lightsaber.
You're exactly right. That's exactly what it was. The lightsaber was 100% just to say, look at me, I'm Darth Maul. Remember this? I did this in Phantom Menace. It's 100% what it was.
But I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, it was very heavy-handed, but at the same time, I liked it just because I love the character of Darth Maul. A lot of people usually agree that he is one of the better aspects of the Phantom Menace. Even though he doesn't say many lines, it's just Peter Serafinowicz with that one line, and then Ray Park just flipping about for 2 hours, and it's great. It works. But then in the Clone Wars, obviously he got fleshed out more. They gave him a really good story and everything like that. So it is really good to see him again. I just hope, I'm not sure how much they can do with it now, because Ray Park likes to put his dick on Instagram, but yeah, it would just be nice to see where that goes and see something of it. And I think there has been rumors about it, but who knows? I just like to see that be taken somewhere with Emilia Clarke as well, because I did like Emilia Clarke in this movie.
She was good. I enjoyed her. She served. I think she was definitely written to have a purpose. And she wasn't the most fleshed out character, but she's a talented actress, and she kind of did. In my opinion, it was a bit of a weak part, but I think she brought a lot more life and kind of soul to that part, which, if played by someone less talented, I think could have been a bit one note. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed her inclusion. There was talk of, I don't know if this is still a thing, but he is the actor Alden something Reich.
Ehrenreich.
That's it. Is actually contractually obligated to appear 2 more times. Obviously, that's only if Disney greenlight the movie. Do you want to see it again?
So first of all, the fact that he's contractually obligated, that's nothing to get excited about, really. That's just something Disney do for essentially insurance purposes. They did it with all the cast of Rogue One as well, so it's just in case they do have an idea, they can just get them back. That's literally all it is.
I know, but talking as from a fan standpoint, is there an adventure that you'd like to see?
100%, yeah. 100%. I would absolutely be on board for that. I'm fully on board for any kind of Solo 2 or anything like that. I don't think that's what they'll do. I think if they did be some kind of Disney Plus limited series or something. Yeah. But I'd still, even with that, I'd be fully on board for it. Alden Ehrenreich was great in that movie, and I really would love to see more of them all, really. Emilia, Lando, Donald Glover, maybe not Tobias, maybe not Woody Harrelson, but
well, he's dead now anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like it. I think I'd enjoy to see another one. The only thing I'd say is I'd really want there to be a story worth telling. I think they kind of tripped themselves over in this movie to where there was a good story worth telling, but they didn't leave much to the imagination of the past of Han Solo.
Would you like some sort of because Mandalorian 2 is coming out soon, and it sounds like we may be getting Boba Fett in that. Would you like some kind of story about the relationship and history between Han and Boba?
I'd be interested in that. Like you say, I don't know if that could fill a whole movie.
So, long before this movie came out, when Josh Trank was actually going to do the Boba Fett movie,
years ago,
yeah, the plan was that there was going to be a scene in the Boba Fett movie, and that exact same scene would be in the Han Solo movie, just from a different perspective, essentially, and it was going to be some sort of meeting. No idea what going to happen, but some sort of meeting of those two characters, which could have been cool, just obviously didn't pan out that way.
Yeah, I mean, if it was directed by Josh Trank, I don't see it being cool, but handled well. Yeah, I'd like to see it. I think all of these characters have kind of got there's more to be done with them, but I think Disney would have to take a long time figuring out what it is that they'd want to do with them.
That's fair.
But no, I'd like to see the performances again, definitely.
Perfect. Do we have any kind of? This is the first one, so do we have any sort of rating system on this podcast? Do we?
We can have a rating system. We're deciding this quite off the fly.
We really are. So, how happy of a pod was this movie for you, Lawrence?
Oh, you're putting me in the hot seat. Okay. For me, this was a chuffed pod. I enjoyed it. It brought a smile to my face, and I had an all-round good time.
Very good. Very good. I see what you're saying. For me, this was a excited pod. Really enjoyed it. Had a good time with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing, if anything, what comes next.
Okay. Lovely stuff.
So there we go. So that was Solo, A Star Wars Story. I have no idea how this is going to go in the future or how this is going to wrap it up. I guess we'll see. But yeah, anything else you want to say, Lawrence?
I've said all I needed to say about the movie. With regards to the pod, I too have no idea how it's going to go in the future. And just know that both mine and Nathan's previous statements have just been worthless. They didn't tell you anything.
Cool. There we go. Basically, we both liked it. Yes, so what I'll just say is thank you for listening, if in fact you did. This is possibly on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. So if you're watching this on one platform and you prefer another, feel free to switch over. It'll be somewhere. And if you liked it, consider rating it 5 stars and leaving a review or whatever. That would help us out. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, don't give it bad reviews. That wouldn't be nice.
That will tank us. Anyway, yeah, so that was that. We'll see you when we see you.